Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Wholesome Half Hour. We're back after the holidays, ready for term 3. Aren't we, Saren? I'm joined again by Saren.
Yep. As every week.
As every week, but that's fine. So we're gonna get things rolling pretty quick with the Wholesome Half Hour, and probably for the rest of the year really, while we are moving into term 3. It's really when school starts kicking up a notch.
Yeah. Sorry, I was real out of it. Kia ora, guys, how's it going? I just zoned out. I feel that's representative of the first day back to school, a bit of a shock to the system. I slept properly last night, that's kind of a drag.
I slept for 14 hours last night.
Wow, that's a lot of sleep.
That is.
How does one sleep for 14 hours?
One deprives oneself of sleep.
I only slept like 5 hours a night last week, which you totally should do, but that's what I did last week.
Yeah, don't take his advice.
Well, it was the first week back at uni, good shock to the system.
Good way to get back into it.
It's a great way.
Only for Saren, no one else.
Don't do that. I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, anyway, so...
I feel like we start the show, we always try to start the show really well, real professionally, but we always end up doing some weird stuff.
Not today, but one day we will get it, and it will be fine.
It will be a dream.
And it will be so
And
good.
then we'll end the show, that'll be the last show.
Yeah, that's the only aim of the show, really.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So, term 3, it's the beginning of term 3.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously it's term 3 kind of thing is getting further and further away from
I swear I do this every week. I decide one camera or something isn't placed properly, and then I go and adjust it.
Well, I'm going to keep going.
You keep going.
So moving into term 3 is when school really does start to kick up and teachers start mentioning those dreadful things called mocks, which varies a lot between schools. So your school could be beginning to get you guys ready for mocks from what would you say, week 7?
Yeah, it depends on your school, yeah. I think when I was in school we used to have them around that time, term 3, week 6, week 7, week 8, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean there are some really unfortunate schools, I'm sorry for you guys.
Some people have them super early,
Yeah, some people have them super early, but the people I'm thinking of, the ones who have to sit it really late, those who have to sit it in term 4.
Yeah.
Sorry for you guys. But I mean, what would you think of as the purpose, I guess, of mocks, or what did you sort of think of mocks, I guess?
I think, if I'm honest, I probably didn't take them as seriously as I should have, but I reckon they're a great opportunity to gauge where you're at.
Yeah.
And do the assessment, get a formal assessment of where you're at in the marks, and use that to inform your study for the next however many weeks or months before the actual exam. Yeah,
no, and I agree, and I think that it's something that a lot of teachers endorse as well. I'm not going to say all, because I'm sure there's teachers out there who would completely disagree with what I'm saying, but I felt like I was always told to think of mocks as very much a placeholder of where you are at the moment, and not where you will be at externals. And I know the purpose of mocks is that if you're unable to sit your externals for whatever reason, they can get it what's called a derived grade, which is just basically the grade from your mocks for that whole external. And I know for a lot of people, I think it is treated, or teachers treat mocks with the assumption that you will be doing externals.
What do you mean by that?
And that
you will actually get to the exam.
Yeah, and that what you're currently sitting is not going to be your final grade.
Yeah.
And I think even because obviously with mocks teachers have autonomy over what's actually in them, the schools decide. It's not like NCA where it's the whole nation gets the same mocks, which I don't know, what do you think about that?
The fact that mocks are different? I think it ends up, I don't know, in my experience it was never terribly off.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I think disagree?
I see both the pros and the cons of it. My thinking about why it's only done within the schools is, I think that making a whole nother set of exams for mocks as well is probably quite...
It's probably quite demanding.
Even
though we know every year there's one paper that NZQA marks up, they do genuinely spend a lot of time in preparing those exams, getting them tested and all of that. It's not a quick process throwing together an exam.
Yeah. And I think with mocks,
especially
it would
when
just
you have
like
to
double
do
that.
literally like over 100 of them.
Yeah, exactly. But I think for mocks, to me, they were always a very mixed bag. Like, I think I had a mock one time where the teacher had basically stuck together like 3 years worth of past exams. So there was no way anyone in the class would have finished the whole mock. Like, nobody finished it. I test quickly, and I got through maybe like 60% of it in an hour.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Which is very, very quick.
Yeah.
So nobody could finish it, and it wasn't done on the pretense that you would finish it, but it was just, I don't know, it was what it was. I'm not really 100% sure of the thinking behind it, but I guess thinking about it, it doesn't seem super logical, I guess, but a lot of the times mocks are derived from past year's exams, I think.
Yeah. No, definitely. You do find a lot of mocks that are either like straight the last year's exam or like a very similar variant of, pick some numbers, change something here or there, which is good and bad. It means you can prepare for it, but also if you get like too comfortable with it, it means you can get thrown off a little bit in the final exam. Yeah,
and I think that's also sometimes a bit of an ish is mocks don't, because teachers have autonomy over mocks, I feel like mocks don't always, sometimes they do, but I feel like they don't always necessarily give a very informed experience of how the external is going to be.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think it's still a good tool to use. Like, with that all said, I feel like you shouldn't totally like disregard them. I reckon they're a really good tool. I mean, you literally get your like test marked as if it was an exam and like given back to you. No,
I agree. I think what I was supposed to be aiming for in that journalist spiel was to treat it like a good test of knowledge for where you are now, not how you would sit your end of year exam. I think sometimes mocks are a funny beast in that people don't usually study crazy hard for them, but do get very wound up in the grade that they receive. Yeah. And there's a bit of a cognitive dissonance, a bit of a disjunction there where you get upset about a grade that you didn't necessarily even put much effort into. Yeah, no, definitely. And so I think, first off, even being aware that that's like a thing is always a good first step. And second of all, it's look at your mock grade as like this is not where I will be, it's where I am. And do understand that there will be learning and there will be development from your mock grades back, except for those who sit in term 4, and everyone else. I don't even think people who sit their mocks in term 4 get their grades back.
Oh, really?
I think because I think everyone knows that we also do tutoring, but I think I had a student last year who sat his exams in...
She does, I don't. I'm not quite on that level.
In term 4. You make the... Anyway, moving on. I'm pretty sure I had a student who sat their exams in term 4. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that they didn't get their grades back before they sat their course. Yeah, okay, that's quite frustrating. The time that they did get their mocks back, it wasn't enough time to really use your mocks as a tool for study for later on, which is what you should be doing with mocks. It really should be a tool to use for your study, because it really will show you where... Yeah,
when you study, like, when you start studying for your externals, whether that's, a couple of weeks into term 4 or just when the study leave starts, you should totally pull the mock out and like look at what you did well at, and more importantly, where you didn't go well, and try to identify that particular part of that external or that part of that topic, and definitely focus on studying for that. I think we're going to talk about mocks a lot in later podcasts. I'm sure you guys can get subscribed.
Yeah, get subscribed so you can hear about more about
StudyTime.co.nz/podcast.
Mock chats.
Mock yarns. That's such a weird thing. Mock chats, like a fake conversation. Is that what this conversation is?
Is anything really real, Siren?
This isn't philosophy, mate. This is the Wholesome Half Hour.
Moving on. But I would really like to talk about some of the other things that go on in term 3 and stuff like that, because I think I'm sure you guys have had enough mock chat. Sorry, audio listeners.
To be fair, I also just tapped my mic 3 times a few minutes ago. I'm not sure if I'll remember to edit it out or not.
Sorry, audio listeners, as opposed to those visual listeners. Moving on.
Soz.
There are other things in term 3 that are going on that I think are just as important to talk about, but I think mocks kind of swallows it up. So we'll probably save most of our mock kind of end of year chat for either next week or a few later episodes.
Yeah.
So what other kind of things do you feel are going on in term 3? Like,
I feel like a few things, especially if you're in like year 13. I remember when I was in year 13, this is kind of where the like...
sorry, can I just pause for like 1 second? If you've got an art board, start it now. While I remember to say it, do it now. Don't wait until a few weeks' time. I'm just saying this now.
This is like the art external like portfolio thing.
The art boards, yeah. Have you ever set one of them?
I've never did art, but
so
I'm aware, I've seen them.
A quick disclaimer, for anyone who does art boards, they don't sit externals, but they prepare a board that gets examined during exam time, but you hand it in before exams.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's always left to the last minute. And I just want to just really put it in now, guys. If you don't want to spend,
remember this now.
Like I had friends who would
just paint for days.
You'd stay at uni for so late, and your art teachers, bless their souls, would always stay in later with you and stuff like that. And I just think it's so stressful in those last few days, and you think, I don't have exams, so it's fine. But you have an art board to do, team. Come on. Okay, I'm sorry. Spiel over. While I remember.
What was I going to say now?
I'm so sorry. Things go on.
Year 13. Yeah, so especially if you're around year 13 around this time. If you're in year 11 and 12, but especially I remember when I was in year 13, this is kind of where the motivation levels for school can start to, peter down a little bit.
I think especially because you think if you're in year 13,
especially if you've already passed NCA, you've got your 60 credits or whatever.
Yeah, you got your UE if that's what you're after.
It's definitely something, even if you're kind of willing to accept that this is like you're happy with where you are at this point in the year, I think it's definitely something, especially as a year 13, because that's where you see it happen the most. It's definitely something to be conscious of. Yeah. And you don't want to end up in a situation where, say, you're at 50 credits, you're 10 away, and then you just stop, and then you're so close, but you don't make it because you kind of gave in a little too early, if that makes sense. No,
I agree. And I think it's something as well, especially when you are in year 13, and if you're thinking of going to uni next year, not all of you, but, some of you will go on to uni. When it comes to uni, you don't have a term 4 breakdown period. We just finished that. We are just back at uni as well.
Wow.
with brand new papers
brand new timetable.
For you guys feeling
brand
you're
new textbooks.
Yeah, you're winding down. We're starting back up again.
Yeah.
And I think there is a wind down period that we have as uni students and stuff as well, but it's not nearly as big as I think when it's a whole year type course at high school. So I think it's not a great habit to get into. I think if it starts hitting August and you're nah fam, I'm not gonna do uni doesn't accept that. They don't speak that language.
With uni you're gonna be going it only starts in March, which is a month later than school, but March through November, it's
and I guess that's all I wanted to say about it. Is it's I guess it's fun for the year or whatever, but it's not how it goes on any further than that. Uni is quite different. Unless you've got first year courses, but that's different again. Because that's law courses.
Lol. Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, year term 3 and stuff?
I think it's also a really good time to kind of really, if you're year 9 or 10
I'm
and you're listening.
I just realised I feel really tired right now.
Yeah, I'm pushing through it.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I just needed to let. I felt I needed to let.
Needed to let the room know. Yeah. If you're year 9 or year 10 though, this is a real great time of year for you.
It's brilliant.
I think we very much focus on year 11 to year 13 NCA quite a bit, but if you're year 9 or 10, this is a sick time of year because you're about to get rid of all the seniors.
Yeah.
You're about to rule the school
to yourself.
Teachers are usually quite focused on NCA as well at the time, so you guys kind of not get it easy, but I think
it's some real fun stuff in year 9 and 10.
Yeah, year 9 and 10, I think more.
What did you do at high school in year 9 and 10 in the last 3 weeks or whatever?
I was in accelerate courses.
Yeah.
So I think I got it a little bit different to everyone else, but we did. I think we did a lot of fun stuff, and I think in year 9 and 10 as well, it was really cool because your what are they called? electives. That's not what they call them.
No,
What do
just
they
like
call them at
options.
high school? Your optional subjects that you usually, I think when I was at high school in year 9, it would change every term. You'd have like 2 different electives.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so you got a taste of it, so you knew which one you kind of wanted to go into, which I actually think is a really good idea because I ended up taking...
Oh, it was like that for me in year 9 as well.
I ended up taking media studies till year 13, and it was literally my last elective that that's the word I'm using for this from now on, in year 9, because I wasn't super interested in it at first, but I like fell in love with it and I absolutely enjoyed it. And I was so glad
You should study it at university as well.
I was so glad that I was able to have that chance to really like try a bunch of different topics. But yeah, I think for you guys, like in year 9 and 10 or anything like that, if you're not really sort of gearing up for exams right now, it's like it's a sick time for you guys.
Just because Mackenzie mentioned that, I thought I'd mention some like life advice.
Always have that life advice.
If you're into business and stuff, you should check out Gary Vee. This is one of his quotes, and he always talks about when you're young, you should try to, especially if you don't know, like if you know what your thing is, like go for it. But if you're not sure what your thing is, and like most people don't know what their thing is when they're like 16, 17, 25, 26.
And that's okay, by the way.
And that's okay. That is completely okay. You should like taste as many experiences as you want, like as many experiences as you can. Because a lot of people like kind of say they haven't found their thing yet, which is all good. That's but like then they've just like they haven't like tried enough things. Yeah. Like if you've just showed up to your 6 classes, like and like that's kind of all the things you've looked into. Like there's more than 6 things you can do in life. Yeah. There's like more than 6,000 things you can do in life.
That's probably something that we'll talk on a bit later in the year as well. We're planning on talking a lot about like how to even pick university topics, because it's like, you know, you've got like regular high school, which has got all your core subjects, and then you got like NCA, like sort of broadens a few topics out a little bit. You got things like if your school's lucky enough to offer things like crime and society and like legal studies and stuff like that. Like those are sort of not generally something that you'd have a class on. And then at university, it just like that net broadens so much further. And I think that is something that we should definitely like. If we hadn't already decided it, like immortalizing it now, we'll definitely be talking about like different options at uni and stuff like that.
And if there's anything else you want us to like do a complete show about, or if it's just a question, and even if you send us questions, and sometimes we'll end up like doing a whole show on it, you should totally let us know. Instagram DM, Facebook DM. You can send us an email if you're into that.
Always down for that plug. But yeah, no, 100%. If you guys have something,
because we want to like make like the best way we could make content that we know you're interested in is if we make content that you ask us to make.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's a small question, like we'll definitely address it in a show, and if it's something really big, then we might, you know, even dedicate like an episode or something to it. But again, like we can only know if you guys let us know. So 100% slide into our DMs with those.
Every single question that comes in, and even if it doesn't make a show, like I don't forget about it. It's like you will find an answer to your question.
Yeah, we always have stuff filed away for like later use,
but like later video, later 100%, show.
100%. Like let us know what you guys are thinking, because we love to hear from you guys. Actually, speaking on hearing of you guys, it's a little bit late in the show for still promos, but like it's fine. We're doing it.
Wow, we've been going for 20 minutes.
No, we haven't.
19 minutes?
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, somewhere around there. I lie. Yeah, we've been going a while. Is our ueboom promo is still going. So if you guys purchase one of our walkthrough guides, the print copy, obviously, because the other stuff is online for free, so you guys can check that out for free anyway. But if you want like a good hard copy to turn into like a shrine later in the year,
can study on the bus, in class, in the library, wherever.
Just looking too cool for school. You guys can still use our ueboom code at checkout to be in the draw to win a ueboom, and that closes on August the 8th.
Yes.
So you guys have about
once the show airs, you'll have about a fortnight.
About a fortnight or so to get those walkthrough guides ordered and chuck in your code, and we will you'll be in that draw.
StudyTime.co.nz/store, promo code ueboom at checkout.
Boy, I hope you edit in
we'll chuck like a little thing.
There'll be
unless I forget
around here,
which is possible because The show's quite long, so sometimes I just won't watch the whole thing.
If you see, I'm doing this at this part of the show, and you know that there was something that was supposed to be here.
If there's no thing here, you know that I've been really lazy today.
Just throw abuse at him. Like you said, he reads everything.
Yeah, I do read everything. It's unfortunate life.
Speaking of questions, though, we have some questions.
We should
tackle those questions.
So we've got a couple. We kind of like address mocks, but we'll talk about these ones more specifically a little bit as well. We've got one question from Palafox. People have really interesting Instagram handles. Palafox asking what's the best way to prepare for mocks, and we also have another one from like San Kalap Lunka. Sorry, you guys have very edgy Instagram names, which is how can I deal with stress about mock exams?
I think stress is best maintained through preparation, so they are quite linked together, so we'll probably attempt to sort of tie them in together.
Another thing to remember is like stress is like generally like it's obviously if your stress is like crippling you, then that's not good, but the sign that you're stressed is actually like a good thing because it shows that you care about what like mocks or whatever's coming up.
If you get to our point and you're no longer stressed about the assignment but you're stressed because you're not stressed, join us. But no, like stress to an extent, like you said, as long as it's not crippling, it's actually good. So don't feel like a small ounce of stress and be like, oh yikes, my whole world is like imploding right now. Really use it and say, well, what is it telling me and stuff.
Yeah, definitely like gauge how stressed you are because like it's totally natural to feel like a small amount of stress before exam or anything that's kind of like high stakes like that. If you're feeling really stressed, what are some strategies you think you can use?
I think for really high levels of stress, sometimes this can be from like over preparation and stuff as well. I think you're totally entitled to take breaks around exam time. If your school is nice enough to give you guys a couple of days of study leave, do the study, but don't treat it like a 9-to-5 working day where you have to be studying from beginning to end because it's not constructive. And genuinely, I think for mocks is start prepping early. And this doesn't have to be huge. Like it can be half an hour a day type of thing. But over time it will accumulate to quite a fair amount of time and it will feel like A, much better because you know a lot more, but B, because you've done this like gradual kind of
I'd totally recommend just like, even if it's just half an hour a day, every day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever, you like have a half hour block that you lock in and you just use it. If you do that like every day between now and your mocks, you're going to have like, that's going to add up real quickly into like 30 plus hours.
And I think you guys would be amazed at the difference that I think something like half an hour can
my
take.
My maths is real.
It's 2.5 hours a week if you're doing 5 days a week.
6 times 2.5 is like 15 plus hours.
It's 15.
Oh, okay.
So it's 15. Math. Anyway, I also just tongue clicked, sorry for the audios. What was I saying? I've completely forgotten.
Something, mock, something.
Mock.
You can really tell that we've been at uni just for like 1 week. It's a big shock to the system.
Always.
Holiday, back to uni, have a couple of 9
This will be you guys next week once you've done a week of school. But no, I think, in dealing with the stress and anxiety itself, something that is, I think we've talked about it before, maybe we haven't, is write down everything that you're really, really worried about. And it feels silly. It sounds
absolutely insane.
But treat it like a free writing exercise. And this is genuinely supported by like empirical data, by like a study that was completed where they had...
I'll try to find that and chuck it in the show notes.
Yeah, students going into exams, can you tell them a psych major? But students going into exams, they had one group just go into the exam like you usually would. And they had another group that they asked to write for either a certain amount of time or a certain length of paper or something like that, just like everything that they're worried about and everything that they are sort of thinking going into the exam. And it was actually really interesting because it's a way of de-stressing and it's a way of getting all your anxieties and everything that you're worried about out of your mind and just into somewhere different. So it feels silly, but it's kind of like you're just like pushing all of your anxieties and stuff like that directly related to sitting your exam. So this is something that you do like day of the exam kind of a thing.
Yeah, you can do it beforehand as well.
Yeah, you can do it beforehand as well. And on average, I don't want to get this too wrong, but from the old grey muscle in my head is telling me that, like, on average, students performed actually about like 1 grade mark better than
I wouldn't be surprised.
on average than those who hadn't done it. And that's got absolutely nothing to do with how much you've studied. It's got absolutely nothing to do with how much you've prepared content-wise. It's got to do with the headspace that you go into the exam with, and it's got to do with how stressed and stuff you are. I mean, the free writing isn't going to completely de-stress you. You're not going to go in feeling like you just got out of a bubble bath, but like it does
just
make a difference.
Try.
Yeah, it's a good
try
way of
like
getting
at least like 10, 20 times, and after that, you know, if it doesn't work, sure. But like you'd be surprised how effective it is. Like at least just like give it a shot. And try it
it's a good way, I think, of dialing your stress back from a incapacitating level for some to a level where they can function at.
Yeah. Some other just kind of generic like ways of de-stressing, or especially if you're anxious or get worried around this time of year, allocate like a worry time. So like say
I've got crying booked in.
No, seriously, I'll explain it. So like allocate like a time and place of day, and you say like every day 7 p.m. I'm gonna like go to my bedroom, sit down for 15 minutes. I'm going to think about all the things that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you're able to, instead of worrying about this stuff all day, if it comes in your mind, think about, I'll actually think about this again at 7:15 when I have my worry time. And by doing that, instead of feeling worried all day, you're able to isolate it to this block of time.
Do you think, would it be better if it, or even more effective, or I guess another thing is like during your like worry time that you've given yourself, like would writing it down be better, do you think?
Yeah, you could do that.
Rather
you could combine it all.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's the idea of, instead of like, again, like worrying about it like all day, every hour of the day, you can kind of isolate it and bring it down to like a certain block of time.
Like, hey, do you want to come hang out with me after school? No, sorry, I've got worrying booked in. 4:15 on the dot. That's my worry time.
But no, it's actually like, again, there's some like research behind it. You should check it out.
No,
I'll try throw some like science-backed links in the description of this episode.
I think that's something that we do try to do a fair amount. Is a lot of what we do say is backed up by evidence, by science and stuff. So we try to have a very informed approach to the advice that we give you guys. So it doesn't just come across as jargon and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Because I think
there's a lot of that.
If we discuss cliches with you guys all the time, A, it gets generic. B, it's probably stuff you've heard before, and it's not been useful to you before. Yeah. So there's not really a lot of point in repeating it, I think. So if you guys ever do like have questions about like, hey, what is like the science behind this thing that you've been talking about? Like if we didn't explain it well enough, like ask us, because we'll tell you. Like we'll do our best to tell you at least.
Cool. We're going to do a full episode on this later this term, but in like 60 seconds, what would be your tips for picking a uni degree? This question's come in from Ruby.
Pick what you're interested in. Don't pick something that you think is going to get you a good job. A, because it's not a sustainable way to study. You're not going to have the right kind of motivations, and you won't do as well. Yeah. You have to have some kind of interest to really excel at something. If you are thinking of taking your degree with some kind of premeditated job or plan, while it seems quite comforting, I don't think it's the most effective way to go about it. Like, I have no clue what I'm going to do after uni, and every time someone asks me, I sort of get palpitations, but like it's fine. But we live in an organic society, and what I mean when I say that is that job positions can be created. Job positions are not as static as they used to be. We don't live in a society these days where you get a job and you live that job for the rest of your life. Yeah. And like I have friends and stuff like that who have applied for companies and stuff like that that have had job positions actually made for them to fit what they do. And
my job here was like made for me, essentially.
And so don't get too anxious about the end result, I think is my advice when you're picking things for uni. Also, there's a bit of a grace period at the beginning. If you take a paper, you decide it sucks. Oh, no, I lie. I won't say that because there's always someone who will enjoy a course. But if you decide a course isn't for you, or your major isn't for you, you can change. Like, I can change my major online right now if I wanted. Yeah. I wouldn't, because I've been in here for 3 years, but like it's something I could physically do. I think, don't get too caught up. Yeah,
I just have 2 quick pieces of advice, which is, like, don't think that your uni degree sets up the rest of your life. Yeah. Whilst, it's a good place to start, it's like totally not. Like, if you just if you finish university and you decide, like, I don't want to do this, like, you're probably going to be all good. So that's a piece of advice, number one. Number two is, if you can, talk to people, whether it's friends, cousins, older siblings, like, all of those people. Totally worthwhile talking to people who have actually like studied what you're thinking about studying, because a lot of the time you'll find out about things that exist that you didn't know exist, or things that you thought were one way that aren't quite that way. And it's totally a worthwhile exercise.
I've had friends had the exact same thing. They've taken a course for the first year or for the first half or however long they decided to stick it out for, and they were interested. But not interested in enough of it to continue with it. So with any kind of topic, there's going to be parts of it that you potentially don't like as much. And it's a way up of, do I like the majority of this course and will I stick with it, as opposed to, oh, there's this one really niche part of the subject that I'm really, really into, but it's like, can I suffer through 3 years of education for it?
Agenda setting theory. No, that's so true.
That's up to you. Some people have more tolerance for things than others. But I think, as a rule of thumb, most people don't.
And also, one more thing is just like, be curious. Like, just because like you're not sure if you'll be good at something, if it sounds interesting and it's playing on your mind, like, be curious, try it out. One
more thing. Sorry, last thing. I'm doing a lot of spiels today, but one last thing is, if you look at a subject at uni and you think, wow, that sounds really complicated and too hard for me, I'm not smart enough for it, discard that thought now, because uni is really weird, and you'll have teachers tell you this, is that like talent only gets you so far, or a latent ability to help pick things up is helpful, but it's not going to get you through uni. You can't get through uni without hard work. So if you are a hard worker, you will, by far, hands down, I'm not open for discussion on this one, you'll do better than anyone who is lazy but smart. Or not necessarily smart, but like is good at picking up on things. Like,
talent only gets you so far. Talent only gets you so far. And if it's the variable you can control, right?
Yeah, and it is really the deciding factor. So if you ever think I'm not smart enough for it, don't think that, because it comes down to effort. However, if you know that you won't put in the effort, then maybe consider not doing it. But that's different.
Awesome. We need to wrap things up quickly, but thought of the week. Do you have a thought of the week?
Survive.
Survive. What's my thought of the week? My thought of the week is
sleep.
Oh no, someone gave us some feedback saying when we talked about like sleep, we just like repeated cliches saying sleep's important. So I'm not going to say sleep's important, but sleep's important.
Get that REM. If you want, we can go into the stages of sleep. Shall we?
Do you know sharks sleep while swimming?
Yeah, because if they stop, they die.
Yeah. So that's fascinating.
Crazy stuff. We could go into the science of why sleep's important.
We might save it for another episode. If you're curious, you should let us know. You should leave a million comments. Get all your friends to comment.
Even if they've never even heard of StudyTime before, just be like, hi, I've given you this link. Can you just comment and just say sleep? Nothing else needed, no context, just sleep. Yeah, and we won't show, our boss probably won't listen to the entire episode, but we'll just show them the comments about, wow. Yeah, we'll post them up. Okay, yeah, I feel like that's enough. All right. Is there anything else? I don't think so. Cool. Awesome. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate having you around. Yeah, thanks for watching and or listening. Don't forget, if you aren't, subscribe to the podcast. Yep. StudyTime.co.nz/podcast. You can listen to it or you can watch on YouTube. YouTube.com/StudyTimeNZ. Awesome. So yeah, thanks guys. I'm like a robot. I don't really know like all these links. Yeah, no, you're the link boy. I say the link and you say the link. Anyway. The DNS server. It's such a niche reference. Great show. Guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye. Good job. Yay. We made it.